Okay, I think we on. All right. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. You haven't seen me in months. I know you're probably cussing me out, upset, don't want to see me at the screen. I apologize, but if I ain't got no content to put out, I'm just not gonna be putting out a whole bunch of fluff and BS. So, as you can see, I got some real ones with me. I got my brother Roberto to my right, my brother Rico to my left, and we're going to discuss today about purchasing property here in the DR and not to toot our own horns, but how all of our properties are probably like 75% more than what we paid value, 75 to 100% more than what we paid for back during COVID, because I think we all bought during the same time.
Yeah, in the middle of COVID.
We bought in the middle of COVID, and like I always tell people, I read when I was in school that most people get rich during crisis. So when COVID was going on, I was looking for all kinds of investments, whether it was gold or whether it was that, real estate and gold. I'm not a financial guru, but from what I understand, it the surest and the best investments you can make with your money. So, having said that, I purchased my home in 2020. I think it was 2020, and I'm not. These brothers can't speak on what they purchased theirs for, what it's worth now, but I can tell you mine is at 120% flip right now if I was to sell it. So my neighbor just sold his house. I'm based off of my neighbor just sold his house for, and plus I got the apartment addition onto my place. So it's gonna be a little bit more than what he got for his. So I know you're gonna ask in the comments how much I paid for mine. I paid $100,000 for mine cash. They wanted $150,000 for it, but because it was COVID, I was able to get $50,000 off. I got it down to 100. My neighbor just sold his house for 200,000. So I'm thinking with my addition onto the house, I can maybe get an extra $20,000, $25,000. So it'll put me at 225,000 off of a $100,000 investment. So, and the story, we're gonna talk about the stories of how we got our houses, the story about how I got my house. I came down here for a bachelor party, and fortunately, my ex-wife was from Honduras, so I had a little bit of, and I took Spanish in school, college and high school. I had an understanding of Spanish, and I saw the Se Vende signs, which means for sale. And I called a couple of places, and when I called a couple of places and inquired on the prices, I was shocked at how much they wanted for the house. I was like, oh my god! So I told everybody in the wedding party, I'm like, listen, there's 8 of us. I said, if we all put in 20 apiece, we can get the same villa that we're in right now. This was 2018. So it went from 8 of us to 6 of us to 4 of us to 2 of us. And it was me and my man. It was me and my man. My man that was getting married. I was the best man. It was me and my brother Andy. And I told Andy, I was like, what's up, man? It's just me and you. 80 apiece. We can do this. And he was like, I just got married. I cannot tell my wife I'm buying a house in the Dominican Republic. So he's like, man, you got to do it all you by yourself. So I was in a group chat. I was like, all right, F all y'all. I'm going to still do this. And it's going to take me a little longer. I'll make this happen. So I put my head down for 2 years, grinded up the money, say that the money sold.
But Troy, you have to tell them where you were looking at that time.
Oh, I was on the North Coast. I was in Sasua. But I knew I was absolutely not buying no property in Sasua.
Yeah, you just tell them the differences between where you were at that, because that's where your journey started.
That's where my journey started. I started
in the North Coast.
In the North Coast for a bachelor party. But I knew I didn't want to buy there because of the infrastructure. Look, if it's three factors on the reason why I didn't buy up there. One, I want my mother to come visit me, and I'm not bringing my mother around that. That's not. I'm not bringing her around that. And not to say that it's the whole North Coast, but that's what I was introduced to, because that's what it was a bachelor party, so it was wild.
Yeah.
I didn't want my mother to be around that. And 2, I got a daughter. I didn't want her to be around that or see that. And 3, it's business. It's simple business. I did my research. I said to myself, I got to get as far away from here as possible. And I also did my research. I was like, what's the most return on investment if I'm going to purchase out here? And it was like, I straight Google, and it's just numbers. And I typed it in, Punta Cana is the most visited place in the Caribbean. You can't argue nothing. We can argue about what's better, what's the real DR, oh, that's like America. That's like it's like Florida. I agree. Punta Cana is like Florida. But I live in Barbaro, which is on the outskirts of Punta Cana. And these fellas will tell you, you go outside my gate, you're gonna get the Dominican experience if you want it. But you also can come in the neighborhood and relax and not worry about constant motors running up and down the street and loud ass music. So that's why I chose it, because it was basically a business decision. It's like, where can I get the more bang for my buck if I want to sell this? And I'm not the smartest finance guy, but 120% flip sounds like a win to me. So that's right. So it was a good decision to buy out here. But that was my journey, and that's how I got here. But let these fellas tell y'all about their journey and how they got about moving to Punta Cana. So we can start.
Yeah, I myself been coming since 2011.
Oh man, you know what? Hold on 1 second. I gotta stop.
Pause it for a second.
I know this fan. Go ahead, bro. I know this fan is loud as shit.
Oh yeah. Hopefully it's not. It's not bothering me. So hopefully it doesn't bother the video. Okay.
We got the air. We got the air on.
Okay. All right. One of the few times that you splurged. He's splurging on air for you guys. Hey, listen, any other time he have us in here sweating like we
absolutely not.
I'm like sweating like a whore in church, but
absolutely not. Listen, electric is we have private electric in Punta Cana.
Yes.
And Supreme is expensive. I'm hoping it don't cut off during this video. But that's another thing in Punta Cana.
And he said cut off because the bill's so damn high, not because it cut off. I don't want people to think we have blackouts. No, we don't. We have super energy security here, but your ass gonna pay for it.
You gonna pay.
So
you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I've been coming since 2011, pretty much at least once a year. There was maybe 1 or 2 years where I didn't come. Then I came in 2020, and that time I decided I'm going to purchase. I'm going to go ahead and look into property. And I actually started back home looking. And when I came here, I hooked up with the real estate person I was working with.
Mm-hmm.
But she was trying to sell me into a more expensive home in the neighborhood that I wanted. She took me to the neighborhood and she said, no, there's no more 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. But we do have this 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's 2 levels. I said, I don't want 2 levels. I'm getting older now. I just need the 1 level. And she was, no, but we don't have none available. There's none available. So I was staying at the Hard Rock. I went back to the Hard Rock Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking, and I called another lady, and she tells me, yeah, we do have 2 bedrooms, 2 baths in that subdivision available. I said, are you sure? She was, yeah. So
so you still in the same neighborhood?
Yeah, so
she was trying to upsell you anyway.
Yeah, she was trying to
Okay.
So she picked me up the next morning, and she took me. I said, this is the neighborhood. And she said, yeah, we have this available. It wasn't even built, but the lot was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, let's put a contract. Went to the office, and we immediately put a contract on it. And it got built, and I moved down.
Nice.
Sweet.
Nice. It's got the pool. Hold on. We just got the pool in effect. And he ain't gonna say that. We got the pool in effect.
The upgrade. We got to upgrade. No upsell, but they got to upgrade.
Yeah.
Better believe that.
We got the pool. And I don't know if y'all saw past videos where we were working on the bar. It was me and Roberto working on the bar. So now I'm trying to get him to get the bar at his house. And we're gonna get that popping. But it's a nice pool, man. I know once you get your pool, man, it opens things up.
It changes everything. It's almost like extra living space in the back, an addition, which is a nice addition, once you get the mood right or the greenery and all the lighting, it's going to be really
It's like that indoor-outdoor living,
right.
Transitioning real smooth outside. It's nice right there. All right, there we go. You can tell them about your
Well, okay, let me ask Roberto a question real quick. What month did you do yours, Troy?
February.
And you?
I did mine believe it was in March,
Oh, okay.
March or April.
Okay, so a couple of months out.
Yeah, yeah, March or April.
Okay. Well, and the only reason why I asked that because I'm like, 2020 seemed to have been the year. Because believe it or not, you're looking at three guys who all purchased in 2020.
Yeah.
And that's, interesting. Like I said, Troy was February, Roberto was March, April. I did my contract, I believe it was a little later in the year, like October.
Okay.
So it was either September or October we came down. And just for informational purpose, I'm the only one of these three young men that's married. So, my decision making was, myself and my wife. And I'll say my first visit to the DR was in 2013. I'd never even heard of Punta Cana, the DR. I don't, believe it or not, I'm not from New York City. I'm from outside of DC. We got plenty of Dominicans, but I didn't know the difference between Dominican Republic and Dominica. I didn't fucking know. But I had always wanted to live overseas.
Right.
My spouse is from El Salvador, so at some point in time I contemplated living there. She didn't want to go back there. So we would, in between our trips, we were always going on vacation with the intent of also looking for a place to retire and live. But like I said, she just wanted to come here in 2013. We came, we did the resort thing like most people do. And I mean, even if you come here for the first time on a resort, it just knocks you, off your feet. It's wild.
Man, the beaches were so.
Yeah, the beaches.
Yeah, because like I was on the North Coast.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to anybody on the North Coast, that's the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
So when you got to see this Caribbean Sea, oh my God! Like I turned to my realtor, he was real slick with it. He put me in Quartocito, and that first thing I'm a beach guy. I was like, yo, where the beach at? He's like, yo, just go straight.
Walking to the ocean.
So they put me up at this condo, and then I walked straight.
Mm-hmm.
And it was around sun was going down.
Mm-hmm.
So the sun was setting, and it was like about 7 o'clock. And I took that turn, and I looked. I said, "Oh my God!" I was like, "This is crazy." Like the beach was unbelievable, man. I was like, before I even saw any house, I was like, "Oh, I gotta get something out here." And then he gave me. See, I had a good realtor. My realtor was born in New York. Good. My realtor was born in New York, but he moved down here when he was 12. He's Dominican. Both his parents are Dominican. So he wasn't trying to like get over on me. Like that. This wasn't a big, huge sale or nothing like that. So he was like, he told me the area I wanted to get something in Quartocito.
Yeah.
He's like, man, let me tell you. He's like, listen, a lot of people want to come, they want to buy by the water. He said, but these houses here, they're not all new. They don't have PVC pipe and all that. He said, anything that's near this beach, even when I show you these houses in the area, it's gonna rust. If it's not stainless steel, it's gonna rust. He said, so your car is gonna rust out on you. I was like, what? He said, yes. He said, you got a car and you live down here in this area, it's gonna rust out.
And if you never lived oceanfront, waterfront before, there's a lot of things you don't know about it. Yeah, because
the air conditioning.
It's a lot.
Tell them about the barbecue grill.
So just to touch on, so like that. The only reason why I started that way is because that's where I think all of us probably had it. I hate using the word love, but your first love affair with the country.
Right.
And it's not about the beach. It's just like the beach, And their beaches are so beautiful. I refuse to go to a beach in the States anymore. I just refuse to go.
You ain't going to Ocean City?
Hell, I'm sorry, but they just like compare my point of reference for beaches is here, and anything in the States look like a sewer to me. Yeah, it just does.
You get spoiled, man. I won't even stick my toe in.
Ocean City, Virginia Beach, Rehoboth up there, Jersey Shore, they're like sewer water. Yeah, to me, the concept, because I'm always thinking about down here.
I have to see my feet when I get in the water. Yeah. I can't. I'm getting something I can't see my feet. I ain't with it.
So to see stuff like that, it was a little bit life altering for me just seeing that. And it's not just the DR, but this is the first place I visited in the Caribbean. I'm sure there are other places, but that's what was my first point of entry of falling in love here. Mm-hmm. So when we were coming back and forth repeatedly, 2013, 2014, just like Roberto, every year to like, and at one point, me and my wife, we kept saying like, why we keep looking everywhere else when we know damn well we just keep coming back to the DR. So then at that point, once that solidified in our mind, basically, she had no argument. I started putting in the work. So obviously when you're in the States, you don't have a realtor, you don't have a lawyer, you don't have anything. You're just doing research, you're doing, internet searches and things like that. And for me, I believe it or not, I'm sitting at my man's Troy's house. He might be in my house. Because I swear, well, here was the thing, I'll tell you this last little bit. I was at the resort and across the street in Kokotau. Right. Because we were staying at the resort Melia and Malia. I'm sorry. Okay. So a lady, the owners get to come over there and use the beach. So they was like, oh, we're trying to sell it. My mom's condo over next door in Kokotau. So she took us over and showed us. So we were seriously, we weren't ready at that point. This was like maybe 2019, maybe the year before we were ready. And she showed us the condo. They wanted like 150 and stuff like that. So I was like, so me and my wife, we were like, oh yeah, we're gonna get it, right? But we weren't really ready, but we were just like, that would just sort of sold us on it. But then for some reason, I saw pre-construction. And that was the thing that I would tell people, which I didn't know that they had that market here, where you could purchase new homes have yet to be built.
I'm scared of that though. Here, because you see so many.
But yours was pre-constructed?
No, this joint was up. It wasn't done.
You contracted before you got it, right?
Yeah, it was a shell. It wasn't nothing.
Oh, okay. But see, so yours was semi-pre-construction.
I think why he's saying pre-construction is you have these neighborhoods that they build the wall, and they make a security hub for the guards, and then they put the big sign, they sell them.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. Like that.
Okay.
Like
yours was a lot. But houses were up.
Houses were up.
Same with mine. Right. Mine's houses were up.
And what I think Troy is saying
like nothing.
Being firm. Oh, no.
Because I heard so many people getting burnt.
Yeah.
And you see the houses.
Yeah.
They haven't been completed.
Close to where I live at.
Yeah, when you coming in his neighborhood,
they got it.
So I suggest if you do, but we'll talk about that a little bit. So basically, pre-construction can save you some money.
Yeah.
Because the prices of pre-construction to post-construction can oftentimes be 10, 20,
up to $30,000.
yeah, even up to 10 or 20% less. Because once as the neighborhoods start to flesh out, the prices for that neighborhood gets locked in. It's like as the inventory goes down, there's no more deals.
It's almost like in the States. I remember I purchased, and I came in on the second phase, but they had a first phase and a second phase, a third phase. So depending on where you come in,
exactly.
How much savings you're going to get.
Now, what I didn't want to do, and I almost actually was going to do. So basically, let me just say this. So we came down in the middle of COVID, and believe it or not, that was a scary time to buy because there was limited amount of building because the fucking country has shut down.
Yes.
So we're shopping in the middle of a pandemic, and I mean, like, I'm not sure about these guys, but when I came in October, me and my wife had to get up at 9 to get out because by 3 o'clock we had to be back in, off the street, or the trucks riding around locking people's asses up. Yep. So they took this curfew. They had a countrywide curfew. And I think at one point it was 12 p.m. in the afternoon, then 3,
then it went to 7.
7. Yeah, and as it came out. Right. But through those phases, they didn't give a damn if you had to do business. You had to get your ass out that morning, do your business, and get back indoors. That's just the way it was. But
as people were drinking and partying in their house.
But shopping, the benefit was if you were spending money then, you were king.
Oh my God.
You was the king.
Listen, That's how I got the pool sheet.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yo, do the patio, do a jacuzzi.
People was out of work.
People was out of work.
So if I'm gonna put you in work, even if they can only work till 3 o'clock, well, you gonna work because they. And remember, y'all might be sitting in the U.S. getting fucking stimmy checks. Wasn't no stimmy checks coming to Dominicans or Haitians here. They wasn't getting stimmy checks, and if they wasn't working, they were not getting paid. So if you came as a customer,
hold on.
the government might have been giving out some little. They wasn't getting no stimmy checks like y'all was in the U.S. No, yeah, they wasn't. They was giving like maybe a bag of rice, some beans, and 200 pesos or some shit. It was, it was nothing on that scale. And the reason why I know it was because when me and my wife was here for that week, every time we would go out to a restaurant, we gave out so much goddamn charity that week it was ridiculous. And these were people working that still was making so little. Because here, Punta Cana is very tourist, like all that business dried up.
Tourists coming in.
Yeah, there were no tourists. We flew in. It was maybe 20 people on the plane.
Yeah, I got it. I see. I mean,
plane maybe had 20 people. So
I wish I'm ready now. But another pandemic coming.
Ain't another pandemic coming in our lifetime. But if it does,
I'm ready.
If it does,
I'm so ready.
If it does, I'm cleaning up.
Make sure you buy.
So, in just buttoning this up, I'll button the story up to say that those were the conditions that we bought under. And while it was a bit unsure, it ended up being very favorable to us on the back end. But on the front end, we were all cash buyers. So that's another thing. None of us are financed. Huh? Yeah. So, and that's also a critical advantage is when you come in and you like, hey, this is a cash buyer. You ain't got to worry about me going through no bank. I'm paying. Here it is. Boom.
I think that's definitely why he let me get mine.
Yeah. Paying cash.
I got cash money. What you trying to do? At first he told me no. He was mad. He was offended.
Yeah.
To this day, we rode by the other day.
Still don't talk to you?
He does not talk to
me.
Right.
Fucking Punta.
He's building those houses.
I don't care.
Down the street. He does not.
And even if I will say this, even in 2024, now that things are over, if you decide you want to come in and you want to be a cash purchaser, you still can have some leverage in the negotiation. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, but I will say what I did. I paid cash 100% for my house, and I gave them the money up front. Now, that was a risk I took. But for that risk, I wanted a 10% discount. So I only paid 90% of the price that we negotiated.
You got to get something.
So my point was, I'm going to give you every fucking dime up front, but I want a 10% haircut. Nah, I can't do it. I'll put some refrigerators and some air conditioning. I want a 10% haircut. That actually took off of my house. My home cost me $180 to get built. And when I immediately had that 10%, I said, that's $18,000. So now instead of 180, it was 162.
No, instead of 180, should have been 170.
No, it was 18,000 that came out.
If you said you took 10%.
It was 180, 18,000 right. Of 180. Y'all know I suck at math. Somebody who knows
10%, right?
10%, yeah. So that's
I'm bad. I'm over. That's how I'm
10%. Okay, you got to do the counting.
This the account.
Right, that 18, right? Right.
162.
Yeah, 162. And then and because out of that, that's how I got my pool. Oh, yeah. Because once he took that out, then I gave him the money for the pool. Because at first I said no, because it was 180 without the pool, got it down to 162. Now put the pool in at 172, clear and free. Okay. But the thing is, that's what I would say to anybody that's listening. Your protection comes in, and I like we say all the time, it's a couple of things you can't fucking take shortcuts on. You gotta have a real serious, solid attorney. Yes. That's a real estate attorney that knows. Don't get nobody could pay an attorney. Do not be out here trying to get $100 attorney. Because they be out there. But they ain't gonna do shit and you gonna get screwed.
Don't go with the attorney. Don't go with the attorney that your realtor suggests.
Now, pick your own attorney. They're easy enough to find. Real estate attorneys, and if you know anything about, I think it's the Martindale Hubble, which is a book of like they have it in the U.S. too, called the Martindale Hubble, and every law firm in the United States is in that book. You know that information, and they even have like an international version. So if you're looking for a lawyer in any country, you can go to Martindale Hubble International. Say I need a lawyer in Puerto Rico, a lawyer in the Dominican Republic, lawyers in Japan, this or whatever, and they'll get a reputable law firm. Hey, do y'all do real estate law? Okay, I need somebody to help me for my contract. So you got that. Your lawyer is there for your protection, and have a reputable realtor. So the realtor is to help you find the property, and the realtor doesn't get paid by you. There's no thing like it is in the States where the buyer and the seller. Your realtor simply shows you property. The seller pays the realtor. So yeah, my realtor got paid from the seller. I didn't give my realtor a dime. But she only ate if I picked. See what I'm saying? So my realtor, I didn't give her one red. She bought me lunch. I didn't pay nothing. But she was like, it's up to you. If you don't pick nothing, I don't make nothing. If you pick something, then that builder owes her whatever their percentage is. Again, so you can still work certain leverages to your favor. I always tell anybody, pick a budget, because that's what we did. We picked the budget and we said we want to stick within our budget. These are the things we want. See if we can get it, and then find a good realtor should be able to tell you whether you can get everything you want within your budget, and then it's their job to go out and find properties that match your budget.
It was, realtors here.
Well, a lot of them is just expats that come down here with no licensing. No. Yeah. So that's the thing about realtors in this country.
It's not regulated.
It's not regulated yet. It's supposed to be changing it. But right now, you can get off the fucking plane and become a realtor. It's not regulated.
Normally, the Uber drivers selling real estate.
Everybody.
They're selling excursions.
Everybody. So it's completely unregulated. Anybody can be a realtor. No experience, no training, no nothing. That's supposed to be changing. But there are some very well-known, reputable realtors, certainly in Punta Cana. I can't speak to other places. And all of the big-time realtors, all the solid realtors here, also can, if you're looking at Santo Domingo, you can go out there. They can find you great properties. Probably the North Coast as well, but I would say the North Coast is a different area.
If you're interested in some real estate, you need a realtor and a lawyer, you can contact me on the show. Mm-hmm. I'll recommend my guy because
we all got a solid realtor. We all got solid attorneys. So we got at least 3 reputable realtors, 3 reputable attorneys that we can all refer you to that know what they're doing and protect you. Because these are 3 people who we're all villa owners. All our transactions went flawlessly, perfectly. All of us got at least 100% increase in value on our purchase.
Right.
So,
and I know you get a lot of YouTubers tell you about the real estate market here and the real estate process. But like I always say, man, if you haven't went through it, how can you possibly tell other people about the process? Like there's some horror stories out there, and you just hearing people say, "Oh yeah, come on down and buy, come on down and buy." Nah. Oh, like when these people are doing these videos, just ask them a quick question: where can I go get financing? Mm-hmm. And you'll get crickets. Why would they know about where to go get the financing or how much you can be? I can tell you right now, the amount that you're going to get from a bank here is only going to be about $100,000. Mm-hmm. And if you get that, the APR on it is going to be.
Yeah, I strongly discourage financing here.
Yeah, it's going to be a high APR on that.
High interest rate, short term, minimum amount.
I think it's about 5 years.
It's usually like
5 to 10.
some you can get. It's not to say. I think Mario it said some, but that's if you got great credit here, which you don't have because you're new here. So you're not gonna have. You're barely gonna have any credit here with the banks. Even if you do get credit, and they're gonna give you 20, 25 years, the rate is still gonna be, much higher than what you're accustomed to back in the States.
Right.
But most people, they get, I've heard some points 10, 12, 15% interest,
The mob don't even
5, 10, 15 years, and then they only want to give you like, I think, 60%. So you still got to come out with a massive, you still got to come out with 30, and we cry about 20. Hell, in the U.S., most people are putting like 5% down to get in. Here, you got to have fucking skin in the game. You got to have like 30, 40% to get a loan. So the loan is, you're 30, 40% in cash. So if you're going to do that, hell, get the rest. And not even get a loan from in the States.
There you go.
For, if you got good credit back in this, if you got credit enough that you want to apply fucking here, your credit's good enough to apply for a large personal loan or equity loan of some sort of loan. If you own home back in the States, because that's what we did to get the money. We pulled equity out of my house in the States and money we had saved up. Because I was like, I'm not going to have no 2 fucking mortgages. So I already had a mortgage back in the States. Let's yank some of this equity out. The money that we got saved up with the equity we got, and bam, we out of there. But like I said, I'm only paying like 3 to 4% back in the States.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not paying. I'm like, when they sit there and say like, when I heard 8, I was like, that's it. Y'all go to hell.
I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it. I won't get it. So that's what's the but 90% of the market here for foreigners are people are paying cash.
Listen, and we were just talking. We were talking this morning on the way back from the post office. Another post office where you can pick up your packages. About how this area is about to. It's about to pop. It's about to pop.
About to.
It's
done
just
pop.
about there.
But it's gonna pop some more.
It's gonna pop some more.
Because I would say this. Look at since 2020.
Yeah, we were like
Since 2020.
We were both saying there's no way in hell we'd be able to get these houses now.
No way.
What we paid for back then.
And just for the audience, right? Just to let you know. So like I told Troy the other day when they said it's funny because you have your little expat wars on the island, right?
Yeah.
Because you got expats in Santo Domingo, Punta Cana,
I've never heard anybody in Santo Domingo, anybody in Santiago get into any, this place is better or that place is better.
It's always only the...
It's always the people in Puerto Plata.
And they always shit on Punta Cana.
I don't know why.
Look, they don't shit on nowhere but Punta Cana. They don't say nothing about Santo Domingo. No. It's always Punta Cana. And I'm telling you.
I lived in Punta Cana for a year and I hated it. Now I'm in the north and I like We know why.
Right. You up there with shitty roads, barely any good hospitals, barely good. Any malls.
We got Europeans telling the people that's not the real deal.
Right. That's the argument. The argument is because it's so touristy.
But what did I say though? I said I don't take offense to anybody saying that Punta Cana is not the real deal because I agree. Because when you're at that airport area, you in Punta Cana Village, you in the resort.
You
doesn't feel like
I agree.
No, but what you're doing is
when you get past that circle, when you get past that circle, you make that right. That's DR.
No, but Troy, you're doing it on a technicality, right? Which and I get it, because the technicality is Punta Cana Village, Cap Cana, all that is what I would call Punta Cana proper.
Right.
Same way, like like back home in the DMV, DC, the city of DC is DC.
Right.
But people who live in the suburbs around. They claim it because then we say the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, the north of Virginia, it's not DC proper, but it's DC.
Right.
You know, DC influenced this, that, whatever, right? So I'm like, you're correct. It's not Punta Cana outside of that. It's Barbaro.
Yeah, it's Barbaro.
So you're 100% correct. But the point I get is, for me, it's a more illogical argument, because when they say, the only reason why they say it's not the DR is because they say because there's so many tourists. If that's the narrative,
there's a ton of tourists in the north.
Right, but no. But if that's the narrative, if the amount of tourists makes a city not a part of that country, right, motherfuckers better not be in New York, right, Atlanta, LA, Chicago, Detroit.
I don't need to hear you up there.
Oh, okay. Detroit, Miami. Because my whole point is unlike every Dominican in the U.S. is in New York. So they're not in the real America by that logic. That logic makes no sense.
I can tell you, it's a stereotype. It's the same. It's never like.
It's bitterness from people on the North Coast.
But no, it's never.
It's
like,
bitterness from people on the North Coast.
But it's never like a How can I say this?
The ones that complain about.
It's normally like an older European person or an older, white person. I don't want to get too no racial stuff.
No.
Like an older person that had lived in Punta Cana, and then they got burnt out and moved to the north. You never hear a Dominican.
Never.
Dominican saying.
Never.
But then nobody gets into it. It's always like an old guy.
But you know what I think it is?
It's always like an older guy from like Spain or Italy or somewhere, or Germany or whatever. And it's an old cranky guy saying that's the people that start shit on Facebook. And I had to tell this one guy on Facebook one time, he had said something slick. And I was like, listen, here's the rules with Facebook with me. This is how we're gonna this is for everybody in this group.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say nothing to me on here that you will not say to my face. So if you feel comfortable saying it to my face,
you
say it. But don't say nothing on this internet because this one guy was getting. I don't even know how I got into the conversation. He was saying, he's like, Punta Cana ain't the real DR, and you guys, and I'm like, man, what are you talking about? I go outside, that feels like DR. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
We all licks. We all licks. If you ain't Dominican, you seen as a resource. Period.
What are you talking about? Right. But you know, it just seems like it's always the same character, some old cranky guy. Mm-hmm. Everybody else doesn't even care about. Like why would I care? Like I don't care. You're not gonna make me feel bad about living here. For one, it's business. It's business.
But you know what I think? I don't. First of all, it's no fucking excuse for it. But I do think it sits in an essence of bitterness and anger because they feel like we get services that they don't get, such as great infrastructure, schools, hospitals. But what they don't realize is we pay for that shit. They're not giving it. Matter of fact, I would probably say the overwhelming number of services that you get in the Punta Cana, Barbaro area is driven by the money from these resorts and these residentials. Right. So we have so many U.S. standard, European standard residential. It's a tax base. It's no different in the U.S. Yeah. The wealthy neighborhoods that back in the States, we say it all the time, where they don't got good schools and good police.
Or when it snows,
right.
they get plowed out first.
Because your tax base is so low compared to this. So the tax base of Punta Cana fucking dwarfs.
You got 2-lane highways.
Dwarfs the North Coast. The North Coast doesn't touch the tax base. Right. Punta Cana is the revenue generator on the island outside of what they produce and send out, whether it's concrete. Of course, obviously, the things that they export is the overall. But outside of that, when it comes to tourism, I'm like, of the 10,000 flights that came into this country last year, like 7.5 million of them came into Punta Cana Airport. Right. Then another 2 million into Las Americas, the capital. And the last 500,000 was split between Santiago in Puerto Plata. I'm like, what the fuck can y'all do?
And it was mostly brothers.
Right, remember whoremongers going up North Coast.
Chill.
That's what it is. So it's just like, y'all don't spend no money. I always say that about them too.
80% black dudes.
Black dudes up there tricking. And this is where they get mad is, I said, because your travel footprint is so minimal, it's invisible. Right. Because you travel as a single dude with a pack of single dogs, right? We know what you're traveling for. Right. Y'all, the money that you spend, you're not the type of tourist that any country wants.
But that's not, let's not even go down.
Well, I'm just saying the tourist base. The golden tourist for any country around the world. Do you know what the golden tourist is? Family. Exactly. A husband, a wife, and 2 children. That's it. They are knocking. They gonna spend. They gonna spend.
Right. And I challenge. And I know
you can't beat that. You got a hotel. That family comes in. They're not in an Airbnb. They're not. They got a hotel for the week. They're eating in restaurants every day. This is just tax generation, right? They're going on excursions for the week. They're buying souvenirs for the week. That's what they're doing. You and me and him, if the 3 of us went together, we'd spend it on right?
Might go get some lunch meat.
Right. So the reality is, I know our taxable footprint, and that's most of the money from tourists that government makes. The government only makes taxes. Right. They don't make money off of selling. The government sells nothing. The government don't have hotels. They don't have restaurants. They don't run excursions. They tax all these goods and services, so they need people who use it.
But apparently, there's a change coming to the North Coast.
They about to gentrify. It's super anyway.
But you know what? I think developers on the island are looking for the next Punta Cana. Everybody's looking for the next Punta Cana.
Developers are. But I don't think it's going to be the North Coast. I still think
it's going to be Miches.
I still think it's going to be Miches.
They need.
But but I don't think think.
There's another area that they were talking about.
Pedernales.
Like in 10 years.
Yeah. Here's my question though. It's got to be somewhere where they're willing to build an international airport because the government didn't do it, and I don't think POP can do it. I don't think POP can accommodate. They get maybe less than $1 million a year now. But it's got to be something to say, okay, we can get 3 to 4 million passengers a year. Because the people is the money. That's the cash for us to print money. Maybe Las Americas, but they don't have the infrastructure. Or they have the infrastructure, but areas where they can build resorts. And if you're going to try to bring in that many visitors, now we need to build resorts. I think maybe on the North Coast, but then that would mean building a whole new airport. And they did that. For anybody who don't know, Punta Cana Airport is a private airport. The government ain't paid nothing for it. No. The main guy is named Frank Ranieri. And I think Oscar de la Renta. Mm-hmm. He lives in Casa Campo. He's one